right, guys, welcome back to People Bring Profit, our little podcast here that we love to share with you guys. Today's episode topic is a fun one to me. Again, they're all fun. But it's going to be it's the grind compared to really building machines. We get questioned about it all the time. It's our neon lights in our conference room. It's all over stuff we have. It's building machines and what that really means. And we're going to try to share it with you. And hopefully you can take some of this and take it in your company and grow with it. But today, if you're the first time getting us meeting with us today, sitting here watching us, I'm Chris Olexa, CEO and founder of Aspire to Be Hospitality Group. To my left over here is my beautiful wife, Kimberly Olexa. Hello.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
She is kind of CFO, CAO, a little bit of everything here in the office.
Yes.
Helps us out a lot. And to my right over here, my man, Justin Smith.
What's going on? There you go. Jersey boy.
Jersey boy. Yeah. Jersey boy. Yeah. So today, again, here we are sharing some stuff, as Justin calls it, golden nuggets, and we're giving them out free. So line up. Here they come. Yeah. So let's talk about this. What is building machines? We get questioned that all the time on different little talks. People call us, say, what does that mean? And I guess how it all started was the words came out, which is one of the biggest things I always say. You've got to have meaning to it. And what does it really mean? How can we say something really quickly to get it out to the team quickly? Because we are so busy in the field, right? It's hard to just sit here and talk to these managers and as we're growing as a company. So I remember we have particular guys that work really hard.
We're grinding.
We're grinding.
Yeah. Right? We're grinding.
We're grinding. And I kept seeing this. And one night, Justin, I don't know if you remember this. You probably can. I just typed the email. I said, from this day forward, I never want to use the word grinding. Yeah. Please. Because to me, grinding means two metals rubbing together. I'm just grinding and it's just making sparks. It's uncomfortable. It's hard to listen to, everything that comes to it. So I just thought that's not motivational to our team to say I'm grinding. But they were telling us.
Yeah, they're grinding.
They were celebrating, right?
Yes, oh, yeah. Worked hard. It's up 90 hours this week, 150 hours
Sweating.
this week. Not even possible, but I'm grinding.
Yeah, I love you, Chris, and Kim and Justin. I'm grinding for you guys. And it just, to when we walked away from it, it did not feel good.
Yeah.
It did not feel good. So I sent that email, and I said, hey, we're never using the word grinding. And I'm sure all the business coaches on that email like, especially Pat, because he was the biggest grinder we have.
He works very hard.
He does, and we love him for it. I said, no more. We're going to be building machines. And then it was started, right? What does that mean?
It means we're leading coaches, not players, on the field. And we're pouring into folks, teaching them how to actually do their job, giving them clear-cut areas of responsibility, honing in on their job descriptions, and making sure they're just really comfortable with what they're supposed to be doing and abiding by the system. And that mentality will give you a better quality of life. It'll let you work your 50 or your 60 hours a week and not have to work 90. There was just a whole lot of, and don't get me wrong, the past couple of years with supply chain and all kind of curveballs that have been thrown at us, I think we did the best with what we could do. But when we get into building machines, we're truly teaching people how to be coaches and step back and lead people versus going out and being that player on the field. And I think that's just a mentality, and it's saying, hey, you worked 90 hours. Let's really talk about what you did and what portion of that could you have maybe delegated a little bit better, or maybe gave someone some additional training versus doing it for them. And there's a million examples of that, but it was a mindset. It was like, everybody stop working so freaking hard, and let's start talking about how we're going to solve this. And
stop working harder. How does it go?
It's always work harder, or work
smarter,
not harder.
Yeah.
And we like to use the word and, so we're going to work smarter and harder. And there's a lot of there's creativity and awesomeness just in that. We're a company of working smarter and harder. And I think that's another mindset that we can go into.
We'll go to all that, but that was one of the mindsets of that too with it. Kimberly, I remember when this is how Kim works. When I was like building machines, she goes, well, what does that really mean?
Yeah, so I wanted you to really break it down for me, because building machines was like almost building robots. And then and I went to a place in my mind, like, are you asking our business coaches or our upper level developers or our team members, are you asking them to just do everything you say all the time, and they never can have any input into their job. And then you came back with this explanation. You came back with this, no, I want, that's a great place for them to start, but I'm actually wanting them to like,
well, I think the explanation
upgrade.
is that's how you work, and that's why, man, it's so important that we all work together as a team. And when I say this, you surround yourself in your table with people way smarter than you, because these words come out of my head and I give them to y'all, and then y'all kind of like fine tune them and make sure they're correct before they go out there.
Yeah,
and
that's great for us.
Yeah.
As a leader, that's what you do for us. You give us keywords, you give us visions, and we implement it and we take it and run with it. And that's why your leadership's so important to this company, just because of the words that you come up with.
You're going to make me cry, Kimberly.
The criticisms that you do. So building machines.
And it's so again, out there, guys, it's important that when you're the leader, like, there's a ton of leaders in our company. You guys lead, way more than I do in your departments.
Yeah.
But as a leader at most, you can't share duties of leadership, right? Because you have to have one that's a visionary. Mm-hmm. And then when they spill this out, the vision now is to go out and y'all fine tune it, or y'all take what that was like, oh, I love it. Now let's go really implement it, or create systems and plans and run with it that way. So I think it's important as leaders that you do that, and you have to come up with those visions of how you can train your staff better, treat them better, train them better, and ways of doing it than we can't do it we did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Damn, times have changed so quickly. But with that, when you said it, and I think our terminology, and me and Justin kind of worked on this, was like, well, okay, it's like assembly line, right? Because you didn't want us to build robots.
No.
You were like, well, what do y'all want to do? We can't build robots that aren't free thinkers, because we want, from our business coaches to our GMs to our assistant managers to our shift leads to our kitchen employee to our front
hourlies,
to think outside, because we want them to grow. And it was like, no. It's like you build a machine that's working, and every now and then you got to go recalibrate it, right? And you got to check it to make sure it's correct and running, because sometimes these machines or computer programs, get off of it. But at least it gives them a platform and a lanes to stay in.
Yeah.
And I think that that's when I went to the show do review.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And how important that is to our team. Justin, I think you get in the store, you see Patrick in there, that we have to Patrick. Sometimes you do it all, but step back, build a machine that does it like you want it to do, and like the company expects, and like our checklists say, then sit back and review it, right?
Yeah. I mean, when we talk about building machines, and it's not robots, it's following the systems, making sure the systems are appropriate, correct, updated. They're version 2.0, and they can change, right? I mean, you're constantly making upgrades to that system. But I believe if you give them good systems, and that's led with our people driving our profits, we'll say it every episode, and they're focusing on their people, and they're running the system, and they're hitting their steps of service, or whatever your processes are, that'll allow for more innovation, and that'll allow for more creativity. That'll allow them to know that the core of their job, what's driving the business, is being done with integrity. The systems work. We've proven they work. And then they can use their creative minds. And some of our best ideas come from the field. Some of our most creative, innovative things come from people who run really good systems and build machines.
Yeah.
That's where the ideas are coming from.
So, for example, we built this program. We're building this machine. But then our business coach calls and says, hey, wait a minute. Can we reprogram this area right here, because it's changed, or I think we can do it better? And we were like, woo, let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
So you say 2.0, 2.1, 2.3, right? It just keeps going.
Every
right?
robot has there's errors in the code, or it loses an arm, and you have to understand what's the root cause of what happened. You have to rebuild it. That's typically upgraded code. And I know we're kind of talking techie here and talking robots.
Right up your alley.
Oh, yeah, all day. We can go to this.
Justin, can you fix my phone?
But no, in any business, you got to be able to take good advice, absorb a lot of information, and go back to the drawing board and, make a level 2.0 and get a good system in place for everybody, and then hold that system accountable. And if the end result is we're giving a better guest experience, or it's making the manager's jobs a little bit easier and giving them a better quality of life, or it's connecting a dot between the support office and the store, those are all great things. That's where we need to pivot. And that's what building machines means.
Yeah. It's just a word. It's just words that we use to kind of, again, roadmap. And I think, Kim, on your side, you already do this in the office because you've already set those safety nets and those perimeters of how they do accounting sections, right?
Yeah. So of course, we have machines in the office. We do the same thing every day
Over and over
and over again. That's just the world we live in and the numbers. But I liked how you, again, your word was building machines. My word was grit.
Yeah, that's our word.
Perseverance we turned grinding into perseverance. Hanging in with the team, surrounding the team, supporting the team. When we end our periods or when we are refocusing on our next quarter goals or next period goals, we just persevere. We don't grind, we grit.
You have the grit.
Yes.
And that's one thing you've always instilled to your people.
Yeah.
And that's one word you always throw out, like when we're interviewing leaders, right? As you say, it's not all rainbows and unicorn, right? Because aspire to be, we try to aspire others in our company to be more.
Yeah.
But you always come in through that interview and say, hey, you got to have some grit too.
Yeah.
Right.
And it takes courage to have grit.
Yeah.
You may be a machine out in the field, but to raise your hand and say, hey, upper management, I think if we do it this way, we can improve our processes, our systems.
Yeah.
You taught me how to be this great grand machine, but I have this great grand idea.
Yeah.
And that's where my word comes in, grit. It's all about perseverance and courage to raise your hand and say, hey, I got a great idea.
Because you think about some of these, managers, it's hard for them to raise their hand to their superior.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got to have some grit to step up and say, hey, this program that we're running, this building machines that you're doing, this training that you've done, has a little flaw in it. And I can save a lot of, money or screws as you're putting this thing together, because if we can shift and do it this way, and that's where we have to, and I think we do a great job at that. We try to bring them in and say, hey, during the herd updates and talk about that too. So it's really important.
Yeah. And what I find interesting is that not only are we building machines, but we make it a point in our company to really understand the process and what the machine is doing.
Yeah.
We're not hands off. We get in there and we see what they're doing. We try to innovate ourselves. We try to help our people out in our field. And I think that goes a long way with our people.
Yeah.
So we go from like grinding to building machines, but I think we put an extreme focus on like the human connection though too.
Yeah.
So like robots are not free thinking. We're humans, and we absolutely can excel when we have a good robot or a good system, and humans build robots for the most part. That's where that human connection, someone being able to raise their hand and someone being able to challenge a process is that's absolutely imperative when you're talking about what we're thinking here. And when you're grinding, you're probably not free thinking. You're not innovative. You're not using your creativity. No. You're probably
your head down, man.
Yeah, your head's down, and you're falling backwards, not forwards.
That's right,
as you say.
That's what I say. if you fail forward, not backwards. So yeah, and with that, I want to use this thing too. It's like, okay, we had this problem because this program, this building machines was there. It was checklist. It was everything training. And then we were, as the stores were really ramping up, getting busier, and, doing some great volume, we would attend a store. And their list said they were clean because the program said to clean and mop and wipe mirrors down and just clean the front windows every 30 minutes. But then this is where the reprogramming, right, comes in. It's like, wait a minute. And this is where the wording comes in, where I say, well, because we were struggling with this. Some of our managers said they're cleaning. And how do you explain clean to somebody? So then this comes to the reprogram. Okay, let's reprogram this building. Let's use the word clean, but let's use it brand new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's make it look brand new. And it's funny when you tell a manager that, if you tell a business coach that, they're like,
it resonates. Yeah.
when you're coding or creating a robot, you have to have 100% integrity.
Yeah.
If you mess up a line of code or a small part, the robot doesn't work or the program doesn't work. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yeah,
so for us, that's our expectation. And whether that's a restroom check or a readiness checklist, we go in there and make sure all the code's perfect and every line is perfect. And we have extreme integrity with our systems. And that's like the correlation of building machines and the humans that are actually executing our systems out in the field. So that's my interpretation of it.
Yeah. I think that's, that's important. That so as you're evolving, as we're evolving every day, right? It's every day we're always looking at ourselves to be better. And I think anytime that you can, as a leader, and you pass it down to your leaders in the field that are wherever you're at, how big you are, they have to see your vision and they have to understand your terminology, what you mean. And any way you can, from building machines to Into the Storm to different terminologies that we use, as you're out there in building your company and writing your DNA, kind of your company, or writing who you are or your culture, you got to attach yourself differently these days. You have to understand the people that work for you need these, I guess, criticisms or knowledge that they can run with, because it's so much easier. It's like, I remember one time you told me, like, I always just say, hey guys, every rock's in its place. Landscaping is so important to me. It is, and I get in trouble from it all the time because Kim's like, oh, you busted the budget at this new Arby's because you put a bunch of cactus there. Yeah. But I love cactus, and the white rock just blings. But, and you're no help over here because you're on the budget side, and you're like, oh, Chris did it, and I ran it past you first. But but anyway, I
love those cactus, especially the ones in Lumberton. That's so funny you say that because I was just talking about it with our business coach, saying, man, these cactus are awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, you do.
well, curb appeal is everything, right?
Yes,
I think it is.
That's a machine over there. We're building that machine.
We're building. I am a built fine machine, but but it goes that when I say every rock's in its place, and this is kind of how this came from, Kim. And I don't know if I ever threw this at you and said, I remember you kept saying, do they understand what you mean? Now, what I mean is, if we watch our flower beds, which, a bunch of our buffaloes have these big rocks, and we're really busy, so the kids get in there and play in them and make snowman, and then they put them in the parking lot or in the grass, and a lot more runs over it when they're mowing and just break stuff. So every time I go to buffaloes, I pick up rocks. And it's funny, when people are with me, when we fly to locations or we walk in, everybody's around me picking up rocks. But, you asked me, so do they really understand what picking up rocks means, or every rock's in its place?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, my theory is if we put every rock in the flower bed, well, the bathroom's going to be clean, the front doors are going to be opened up in time, and things like that. And that's where it kind of started. Well, maybe we need to program and build machines, because
it's really hard to teach people to care. People typically either care or they don't care, but what you can teach them is quality checks.
Yeah.
And you can teach them, any form of QA and coming in and checking that the system's working. And that's a part of their role, and that's a part of any machine or business. So doing quality checks and coming in and seeing, do people care that rock's there? That's a QA check. That's a system. That's coming in back behind everything and making sure that the landscaping's good, and that, that every piece of the business needs to be QA checked.
Way. To kind of bring it in, start landing this thing here, and I want to throw this at you, Kimberly. I think this is something that you took to a whole nother level, because we build machines in the company. We built machines to sit in your desk, that they're doing all the stuff. But now you've built this machine to teach us to be better at recognizing our staff for their things. You've built this machine to embed in your HR department and our leadership that they need to notify, because we want to recognize them, right? Yeah, and
So if you're asking me about I'm always trying to be innovative on our employees and recognizing our employees no matter what, on all different levels, no matter what it is. We really, as a company, I think it's so important. Our industry has changed. We used to be able to give somebody a pat on the back and that be good enough, but that's not good enough anymore. People want instant gratification. They get that all day long through these through technology, and so they're wanting instant gratification. So if you're waiting 5-year, 10-year anniversaries to celebrate somebody, it's too long.
Too late.
We're in our industry, we have high turnover rates. And so we're trying to implement programs to give instant gratification, no matter what that might be as a company. That's what we're focused in going in 2023.
Yep.
And going back to, you know, every rock in its place, how our company has progressed is that was a start for us. Every rock in its place. And then we took it to the next level, building machines. And we rally around building machines, right?
Yeah.
And so we wrote our leadership playbook around building machines. And then the next level for me was grid. And then I started building our support office around grid and just focusing on perseverance, encouragement, personal development, things like that.
You know, when I brought that up is because you also built a machine to now start in the office of like management and leadership, like the best first day ever, because we were focused on that in the store, but you took it to the next level. So where I'm getting at is like where don't just focus what's happening in the store, like a checklist, and this is when we lock the door, this is the bathroom clean. Challenge yourself as leaders, right? You challenged the office. Wait a minute, I want to do this better. I want to build the machine that when we got a new employee starting here in a week or two, and you're going to have it all rolled out and do that because you've built a machine now that you want to be able to do that from now on. And you built that to the same to celebrating employees and things like that. So when us as leaders, you know, when I sit there and I use the word building machines to myself, I need to build myself better and I need to go reprogram myself because what I did 2 years ago is not what needs to happen. So I need to program myself as a new leader, as what's new. And that's why I'm telling, you know, that it's like, get out there and look what's happening in the community and in other leaders and what they're doing and watching how this tidal wave is totally growing of you know, what people are doing different because as you build a machine, or, you know, however you're running your company and grinding, you need to go back and look at yourself and think, how can I do it better? You're challenging your store managers to, you know, follow the procedures, do this, do that, do that. But are you challenging yourself?
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing, like you said, we'll go back to it when you told me, well, do they really understand what every rock's in its place was? That's where this whole mindset to me went, boom, wait a minute. And Justin, you ran with it like, I'm building my machine. I want to do herd updates. I want to do this. I want to do, and you're always challenging, coming in the office. Hey, Kim, how were those calls? What do I need to do different? And then recently you had the play of the day. What is it called?
What we do, play of the week.
Play of the week. That's something you've changed your program, but you've programmed yourself to write that code, and you're going to do that in probably 6 months to a year. It might change something else because you're always reprogramming it because the new model came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that car that was 5 years old ain't the same car you own now.
Well, you listen to the customer too. We listen to our employees, we listen to our leaders, we listen to our guests, and you know, factories are making microchips and those robots are making the microchips and those robots need to be housed in a big factory. So we're building machines at different levels of the organization, and it has a little bit different meaning at every level of the organization, but definitely here at the support office, leaning into our people and creating platforms to take care of them in new and innovative ways is a huge part of building any machine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, I think that it's a great topic for us. This is one of the game changers for us guys. You know, episode before this one was Into the Storm. This one here, the grind.
Our team loves this topic. So that needs to be said. Like people love hearing this. They rally behind it. There's tons of different conversations. Even just having the conversation of what this means changes them from grinding.
Yes.
It gets them into a different mindset and mentality. And there you could talk robots or whatever you want, but it's an awesome conversation to have.
And it's very simple. I mean, these last two topics were some of the big nuggets that we really did that rolled out that really, I think, helped us change the mentality of our staff and also changed us. Yeah. Really, as leaders.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah. So again, hey, you know, again, thank you. Thank you, Kim. Yeah. Thank you, Justin. And thank you for listening to us, guys. Go subscribe to our podcast. And again, comments, please. We want to hear topics. We have a list of topics that we want to talk about in episodes, but, you know, we challenge ourselves. Is that what really people want to hear at this point? And if we get some comments or some messages sent to us, we would love to add that to our list and let us get in here and challenge ourselves to how we can help you more, right? Sure. Because that's what we do. We always aspire ourselves to be better today than we were yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And we want to help you do that. Thank you again, guys. Appreciate you.
Cool.